Imagine walking into a Soviet mine in the 1960s and seeing a truck as wide as a small house, hauling dozens of tons while the ground shakes beneath its tires. In an era defined by massive industrial projects, the Soviet Union set out to build machines capable of moving loads that ordinary trucks could never handle. But how far did Soviet engineers go when they created the largest and most expensive trucks in their history? Some worked deep inside enormous mines. Others carried missiles, crossed swamps, and operated in regions where almost no conventional vehicle could survive. In this journey, we are going to explore 10 colossal machines built for extreme missions, starting with the truck that transformed heavy hauling in Soviet mines. Stay with us until the end, because the number one machine looks like it was designed with absolutely no limits in mind. BelAZ 540. The BelAZ 540 appeared in the early 1960s, built by BelAZ in what was then the Belarusian Soviet Socialist Republic. Designed for open-pit mines and massive construction projects, it helped replace modified road trucks with a machine created specifically for hauling heavy loads across brutal terrain. Its MAZ-240 V12 diesel engine displaced roughly 1,361 cubic inches, or 22.3 liters, and produced about 360 horsepower. A hydromechanical automatic transmission sent power to the rear wheels, making the truck easier to operate on steep grades, muddy roads, and rocky mine routes. At roughly 23.6 feet long, nearly 11.5 feet wide, and more than 11.5 feet tall, the BelAZ 540 weighed around 46,000 pounds empty. Its dump body could carry close to 30 short tons, while top speed was about 34 miles per hour. A 0 to 60 time was irrelevant because the truck could not reach that speed. Its pneumatic and hydraulic suspension helped absorb the constant punishment of mine work. The enormous tires, elevated cab, and deep diesel rumble made it feel less like a truck and more like a moving industrial structure built to work for hours without rest. In daily service, the BelAZ 540 hauled coal, ore, rock, and construction material. Its offset cab gave the operator a better view during tight maneuvers near excavators, loading areas, and the edges of steep haul roads. This truck helped turn BelAZ into one of the world's leading names in mining equipment and paved the way for even larger machines. And if this early giant already looks impressive, the next vehicle replaces the dump bed with 8 driven wheels, 2 engines, and a far more dangerous mission. ZIL-135. The ZIL-135 was born in the late 1950s at the Lyakhachev plant in Moscow, where it was developed for the Soviet armed forces. Its mission was clear: carry rocket systems, engineering equipment, and heavy military loads across terrain where ordinary trucks would immediately become stuck. Its powertrain was unusual, even by Soviet standards. Many versions used 2 gasoline V8 engines, one driving each side of the vehicle. Each engine displaced roughly 427 cubic inches, or 7 liters, and together they produced around 360 horsepower. The system was complicated, but it could keep the truck moving even if one engine failed. Power passed through automatic transmissions to all 8 wheels, creating a full-time 8x8 drivetrain. The ZIL-135 also used independent suspension at the front and rear, while the center wheels were mounted more rigidly to improve stability and help the truck cross trenches, deep mud, and heavy snow. At more than 29 feet long, roughly 9.2 feet wide, and over 22,000 pounds empty in some configurations, it commanded attention before the engines even started. Once both V8s came to life, the sound was heavy, uneven, and metallic, almost as if 2 separate machines were fighting for space inside the same chassis. Depending on the version, the ZIL-135 could carry several tons and reach about 40 miles per hour. A 0 to 60 time did not apply because speed was never the goal. Its purpose was to keep military systems moving through forests, swamps, snowfields, and roads that barely existed. The ZIL-135 became especially famous as the base for multiple rocket launchers, including versions connected to the Uragan system. Its 8 equally sized tires and massive ground clearance became an unmistakable symbol of Soviet military engineering. Very few trucks of its era combined 2 engines, 8 driven wheels, and the ability to keep operating in such severe conditions. But the next machine trades relative speed for raw pulling power and takes on even heavier strategic loads. MAZ-537. Few Soviet vehicles looked as powerful at first glance as the MAZ-537. Developed in the late 1950s by the Minsk automobile plant, it was built to tow tanks, military equipment, missile systems, and extremely heavy loads over long distances. Beneath the cab sat a D-12A-525A V12 diesel engine, displacing roughly 2,373 cubic inches, or 38.9 liters. This 12-cylinder engine produced about 525 horsepower and was connected to a short-ratio hydromechanical automatic transmission designed to deliver maximum pulling force at low speed. Its 8A8 drivetrain and independent suspension allowed it to cross mud, snow, trenches, and broken terrain. At around 29.5 feet long, nearly 9.8 feet wide, and close to 46,000 pounds empty, the MAZ-537 looked like a solid block of steel riding on 8 enormous tires. Top speed was roughly 34 miles per hour, depending on the version and the load. A 0 to 60 time was not relevant. In service, the MAZ-537 was often seen pulling trailers loaded with tanks, armored vehicles, and strategic equipment, all accompanied by the deep rumble of its massive V12. It was expensive to build and required specialized components, but the ability to transport entire armored vehicles justified the cost. Many units remained in service for decades and can still be found in museums, private collections, and heavy-duty operations across former Soviet countries. Enjoying this journey through the giants of Soviet engineering? Then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next machines that change the history of heavy transport. The MAZ-537 could move entire tanks, but the next vehicle was built to work in places where even massive trucks could disappear into the mud. MAZ-538. Not every Soviet giant was designed to carry missiles or tow tanks. The MAZ-538 appeared in the late 1950s as a heavy engineering platform developed by the Minsk automobile plant for military construction work and difficult terrain. Its D-12A-375 V12 diesel engine displaced roughly 2,373 cubic inches, or 38.9 liters, and produced about 375 horsepower. This 12-cylinder engine was designed to operate for long periods at low engine speeds, while delivering steady pulling force under heavy strain. The hydromechanical automatic transmission used short gear ratios that were ideal for pushing soil, clearing routes, and moving heavy equipment. Full-time 4x4 traction sent power to all 4 giant wheels, helping the machine move through mud, snow, and uneven ground. Its suspension was extremely rugged and designed to support large tools and attachments. Depending on the configuration, the MAZ-538 could be fitted with front blades, excavating equipment, trenching systems, and specialized tools for building military roads. Some versions measured more than 26 feet long and weighed close to 42,000 pounds. Its central cab, wide body, and enormous tires made it look like an oversized industrial tractor, while the V12 produced a deep and constant mechanical rumble. Top speed was roughly 28 miles per hour, and a 0 to 60 time did not apply. In practical use, it cleared obstacles, leveled terrain, prepared access routes, and helped keep military convoys moving where no proper road existed. Few examples survived, turning the MAZ-538 into a rare sight in military museums and private collections. And if 4 giant wheels seemed capable of conquering almost anything, the next vehicle abandons tires entirely and uses tracks to reach even harsher places. Vityaz DT-10. When wheels were no longer enough, the Soviet Union deployed machines like the Vityaz DT-10. Developed during the 1970s and placed into series production in the following decade at the Ishimbai plant, it was built to cross deep snow, swamps, fragile ice, and remote regions where conventional trucks could not operate. Its power came from a V12 diesel engine displacing roughly 2,373 cubic inches, or 38.9 liters, and producing around 710 horsepower. The 12-cylinder engine worked with a hydromechanical automatic transmission calibrated to deliver continuous low-speed power without losing traction on unstable ground. Instead of tires, the DT-10 used 2 articulated tracked sections with power distributed through the entire vehicle. Torsion bar suspension helped the tracks follow uneven terrain, while the center articulation allowed the vehicle to bend, cross trenches, and maintain contact on badly deformed surfaces. At roughly 49 feet long, just over 10 feet wide, and close to 46,000 pounds empty, the DT-10 could carry approximately 11 short tons. Top speed on land was around 23 miles per hour, while amphibious versions could move through water at roughly 3 to 4 miles per hour. The DT-10 served in military operations, oil and gas exploration, rescue missions, and supply runs to isolated regions. The heavy engine note, the grinding sound of the tracks, and its ability to move across snow and swamp turned the Vityaz into one of the greatest symbols of Soviet extreme terrain mobility. Many units remained in service for decades, but the next truck returns to 8 wheels with the size and presence of a true strategic platform. MAZ-7310 Uragan. The MAZ-7310 Uragan entered service in the 1970s to handle genuinely heavy missions. Built by the Minsk automobile plant in what was then the Byelorussian Soviet Socialist Republic, its massive size and 8808 layout made it one of the most versatile heavy platforms in the Soviet bloc. The truck used a V12 diesel engine displacing roughly 2,373 cubic inches, or 38.9 liters, and producing about 525 horsepower. This 12-cylinder engine was connected to a hydromechanical automatic transmission designed to move huge loads without requiring constant gear changes from the driver. Its 888 drivetrain distributed power to all 8 wheels, while independent suspension helped maintain contact over trenches, mud, snow, and broken ground. The vehicle could climb steep grades, cross shallow flooded areas, and keep moving on routes that barely qualified as roads. At more than 36 feet long, nearly 10 feet wide, and over 44,000 pounds empty, the MAZ-7310 dominated the landscape. Top speed was around 37 miles per hour. A 0 to 60 time did not apply because payload capacity and off-road mobility mattered far more than acceleration. Over the years, it carried missile systems, support equipment, heavy cranes, airport firefighting bodies, and other specialized systems. Its deep V12 rumble, twin-cab layout, and huge distance between the axles created the impression of a mobile base capable of carrying almost anything. The Uragan became one of the most recognizable faces of Soviet heavy engineering and remained in service for decades. But the next model went even further, combining artillery tractor strength, extreme weight, and a structure built to haul enormous combinations. KZKT-7428 Rusich. More than a conventional truck, the KZKT-7428 Rusich was designed as a heavy tractor for transporting tanks, armored vehicles, and oversized military equipment. Developed by the Kurgan Wheel tractor plant near the end of the Soviet era, it was intended to replace older platforms and strengthen military logistics. Under the cab was a V12 diesel engine displacing roughly 2,373 cubic inches, or 38.9 liters, and producing approximately 650 horsepower. The 12-cylinder engine was connected to a short-ratio hydromechanical automatic transmission, ideal for pulling loaded trailers from a standstill and maintaining force on steep grades. Its 888 drivetrain and independent suspension allowed the Rusich to cross mud, snow, damaged roads, and uneven military terrain. 4 axles distributed the weight more effectively, while the huge tires maintained traction even when the combination was carrying dozens of tons. At roughly 33 feet long, almost 10 feet wide, and more than 44,000 pounds empty, the Rusich had a commanding presence. Top speed was close to 40 miles per hour, and a 0 to 60 time did not apply because its purpose was heavy towing, not rapid acceleration. In service, the KZKT-7428 worked with semi-trailers designed to carry tanks and military engineering vehicles. Its large cab accommodated the crew, while the deep V12 sound and slow, deliberate movement made it clear that this machine was built for strength, stability, and endurance. Produced in relatively small numbers, the Rusich became a rare and valuable example of late Soviet heavy engineering. And if it could already move entire tanks, the next truck was built to carry an even more outrageous load inside a mine. MAZ-7501. Inside Soviet mines, greater size meant greater productivity, and the MAZ-7501 was designed to push that idea to the extreme. Developed by MAZ in the late 1980s, it was created to move enormous volumes of ore in massive industrial mining operations. Its V12 diesel engine displaced roughly 3,050 cubic inches, or about 50 liters, and produced close to 1,000 horsepower. The 12-cylinder engine worked with an electromechanical drive system in which the diesel engine powered generators that supplied electric traction motors connected to the rear wheels. Rear-wheel drive was combined with high-drop pneumatic suspension, designed to absorb the violent shock of huge amounts of rock falling into the dump body. At roughly 46 feet long, more than 20 feet wide, and nearly 20 feet tall, it approached the dimensions of a small industrial building. The empty truck weighed more than 220,000 pounds, while payload capacity could reach approximately 309 short tons. Even with that colossal mass, top speed was close to 31 miles per hour. A 0 to 60 time did not apply. The MAZ-7501 worked in open-pit mines, carrying ore, coal, and waste material between excavation areas and processing facilities. The roar of the enormous diesel engine, tires taller than many people, and the raised dump body created a scene that was almost impossible to forget. Very few trucks from that era could match its cost, fuel consumption, and complexity. But the next machine leaves the mine and enters the world of secret strategic projects, with 24 wheels and a mission that seemed impossible even to Soviet engineers. MAZ-7907. Few Soviet machines were as ambitious as the MAZ-7907. Developed in the mid-1980s by the Minsk automobile plant, it was created to transport the enormous RT-23 Molodets intercontinental missile system, a strategic load requiring dimensions and capacity far beyond those of any ordinary truck. Instead of a conventional diesel engine, the MAZ-7907 used a GTD-1000 TFM gas turbine derived from military technology and producing around 1,250 horsepower. The turbine powered a generator, which then supplied electric motors mounted at the wheels, creating an extraordinarily advanced electromechanical drive system for its time. Power reached all 24 wheels across 12 axles, and many of those wheels also participated in steering. Independent high-drop pneumatic suspension helped the extremely long chassis follow uneven terrain while remaining stable, which was essential when carrying such a sensitive and massive load. At roughly 92 feet long, more than 13 feet wide, and about 14.5 feet tall, the MAZ-7907 looked like a low building moving on tires. Empty weight was close to 145,000 pounds, while payload capacity was estimated at approximately 165 short tons. Top speed was around 16 miles per hour, and a 0 to 60 time clearly did not apply. When the machine moved, the high-pitched sound of the turbine mixed with the hum of the electric motors, creating an entirely different experience from the deep diesel rumble of traditional Soviet trucks. The mobile missile project did not progress as planned, and only 2 MAZ-7907 prototypes were built. Years later, one of them was used to transport a large boat, proving that the experimental platform could move truly extraordinary loads. With 24 wheels, a military-derived turbine, and a cost almost impossible to compare with any production vehicle, the MAZ-7907 came close to the outer limit of Soviet engineering. But the number one machine was even longer, heavier, and built for a mission so secret that it remained almost unknown for decades. MAZ-7904. At the top of the list is a machine designed to remain hidden. The MAZ-7904 was developed in the early 1980s by the Minsk automobile plant as part of Project Selena, a Soviet effort to create a gigantic land platform capable of transporting strategic missile systems. Its powertrain used 2 diesel engines. The primary engine was a Marine V12 displacing roughly 2,563 cubic inches, or about 42 liters, and producing approximately 1,500 horsepower. A smaller secondary engine powered auxiliary systems, making the vehicle even more complex, expensive, and difficult to maintain. Power traveled through a hydromechanical transmission to a 12x12 drivetrain with 6 axles and 12 enormous tires. The suspension was built to support extraordinary weight, while steerable axles helped the colossal chassis turn without destroying its own tires. At approximately 105 feet long, more than 20 feet wide, and roughly 11.5 feet tall, the MAZ-7904 appeared to occupy an entire road by itself. Empty weight was close to 309,000 pounds, while projected payload capacity reached about 243 short tons. Even with all that mass, it could reach approximately 17 miles per hour. A 0 to 60 time did not apply, but its real achievement was simply moving under load, making the ground vibrate as the engines worked to propel a structure longer than many buildings. The machine underwent secret testing, but its excessive size, enormous fuel consumption, and inability to operate easily away from prepared routes limited the project. Only one prototype was built, and for years its existence was known through only a handful of photographs and fragmented reports. The MAZ-7904 never became an operational vehicle, but it remains one of the greatest symbols of the Soviet obsession with gigantic strategic machines. No other truck on this list combined size, cost, secrecy, and sheer excess on such an unbelievable scale. From the Belaz 540 to the gigantic MAZ-7904, we have seen trucks built to carry ore, transport tanks, cross swamps, and move strategic missiles. These were enormous and expensive machines created for missions that ordinary vehicles could never accomplish. They were more than extreme engineering projects. They represented the industrial power of an era and showed how far Soviet designers were willing to go when size, durability, and raw capability became the highest priorities. Now tell us in the comments, which of these machines surprised you the most? Which one had you already seen before? And which truck would you most like to watch operating in person? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Your support tells YouTube that this content is worth recommending, helps the channel grow, and allows more people who love giant machines to discover our videos. See you in the next one.